Hi, my name is Janik Jayasuriya and I am the founder of Celeste.
Hi, my name is Ronali and I'm the founder of Refreshing Ayurvedic Wellness, also known as Raw Sri Lanka.
So Celeste was a hospitality management company that we started about a year ago, which was mainly focusing on properties in Norelli that we were managing as holiday properties. During the curfew period, we had to get into groceries. So we started doing vegetables, and that's when we created Celeste Daily.
So we do organic cold pressed juices made using Sri Lankan indigenous fruits, vegetables and Ayurvedic leafy greens.
So Celeste Daily was something that came up more of a necessity. That has now grown into a point where now we have built up quite a decent reputation on Uber and also online platforms in terms of fresh vegetables and dairy products.
The business has been running since 2016 and we have big plans for the future. It's an all-female run business. So I'm the founder and the rest of my team are all women.
Our plan is to keep expanding and to try and meet our expectations for our customers, where we give them fresh vegetables, fruits, dairy products, and pretty much focus a lot on the niche products that they can't really access, and make sure we maintain a high standard with the freshness.
We hope to have our juices available island-wide by end of this year, and by next year we hope to start exporting the juices so people can taste what real Sri Lankan wellness feels like. And remember that healthy is a lifestyle.
From the Cubicle.
What made you start this kind of a business?
Okay, so Celeste was initially a hospitality management company. So what we did was we were managing properties for people in Norelia, where we were managing them as boutique villas and giving them the rental from that. So while we were doing this, we came to a point where we had a staff of about 25 to 30 people. And then due to the curfew that was put in place by the government due to COVID, we had a situation where we were stuck without any revenue coming in. So we realized that we had access to fresh produce up in Norelia, and we were able to bring it down to Colombo and get it across to a lot of families that needed this during the initial stages of the curfew. Then after a while, we realized that this was not really going to be changing anytime soon. So then we had to look at more of a business aspect to it. And then if we were going to survive as a company and to be able to be responsible and take care of the staff that we had to adjust and adapt to the situation. So that's when we came up with Celeste Daily, which was the brand that we created to be able to cater to the needs of the consumers in terms of fresh produce. So we started bringing in fresh vegetables straight from Norelli on a daily basis, and we were selling it to families in and around Colombo. And that's pretty much how we started. So it's not something that we planned and we wanted to do before. It's something that we had to do to adapt and to survive as a brand and take care of our team that we had.
So Raw was born out of a need mainly. In the market, you don't really get many healthy juices. They're mainly fruit-based and you don't get any vegetable-based healthy juices. So that was one reason Raw was started. The other reason is the high prevalence of non-communicable diseases in Sri Lanka. And having your daily requirement of fruits, vegetables and leafy greens, which amounts to around 400 grams, will help you reduce your chances of getting a non-communicable disease. So one of these juices has your daily requirement in an easy, ready-to-drink bottle.
How has your business helped the local farmers?
Okay, so initially when we started, there were a lot of farmers who couldn't get their crop across to the end customers because they were most of the markets were closed down and we were under curfew, so there was a lot of things that were not happening according to the normal conditions. So most of the big farms were okay because they were able to somehow find a way of getting their crop across. But we were able to help quite a lot of small farms around Norelia, Ambevele area by sending our trucks around and collecting their produce from them. So there were so many small communities that we were able to help thanks to that. And it was not only the farmers we were able to help, because when we came back to Colombo, we realized that there were others who were doing similar businesses in Colombo, where they were doing dairy products to certain things like that, that they also couldn't get across to their consumers. So then we started getting everybody involved and letting them get their stuff on our platform.
So at present, Raw supports 17 farmers, out of which 6 of them are women-owned farms. Supporting women has always been a great need at Raw. Even our staff are all women. So the more the business grows and the more demand there is, the more farmers we can support.
How do you maintain standards in fresh produce?
Okay, so that's a very tough one that we have to deal with. So basically, we're dealing with fresh produce. So you have no control over how it is, and it all depends on how you store it, and they have a very limited lifespan. So for us, we pretty much have to put away at least about 10 to 15% minimum of whatever that we bring into our stores, because they're either not fit for consumption because they're damaged, or part of it is rotten and things like that. But at the same time, we can bring that down quite a bit by using plastic packaging and changing the way that we will store it. But the thing is, with us, we don't want to keep our vegetables for long. We want to make sure that it comes to us from the farms within maximum about 16 hours after it's harvested. And we want it to be sent out to the end customers within a maximum another 12 hours afterwards. So the maximum that it goes for is about 24 hours after we receive it in our store. That's the time that we have to get this produce across to our end customers. But the problem is, if we want to keep it fresh a little longer, we have to use methods like polythene bags, where it's packed in export quality with that type of packaging to be able to keep it longer. But the thing is, we believe in sustainable packaging, so we don't want to go into that. And at the same time, we don't want to say that it's fresh vegetables, but keep it in our stores for at least 5 to 6 days and then get it across to our customers. So what we do is we try to be as selective as possible in the stuff that we get, and then we keep it, and we actually have a team who runs through each and every product that comes in, and they keep separating them based on the size and the quality of the stuff. So it is quite a headache, but we have to do it when you're dealing with fresh produce.
I have given a checklist to my suppliers, and they need to follow that criteria when they supply to me to make sure that the produce is of that quality and standard. If the produce that is ordered is not of that quality and standard, it is returned and it is replaced by the supplier. We don't have any wastage at the moment because everything is made to order, and it is difficult, yes, to get the quality that is required, but over time, after working with the same suppliers, they understand now what quality standards I require for my produce.
What are the biggest challenges you face as a young entrepreneur?
So the biggest challenge for me is dealing with different types of people. That's quite a challenge in Sri Lanka because a lot of people come in and they work for some time, and it's very hard to deal with different types of personalities. So for me, it took me quite some time to figure out how to deal with different types of personalities and characters. Because you can't deal with all your team members in the same way. So I would say that was one of the biggest challenges that I've faced throughout in terms of dealing with different types of people. And it's gotten a lot better with experience, with the time that I've had being involved with my dad's business and then getting involved in setting up my own. So I've had a lot of faithful, loyal team members who've been with me throughout. And I've learned from them as well. I've never been too scared to ask them. I am not ashamed to ask my staff for their opinion and their advice and their help. And one thing that my dad always told me is that it's something that you can learn from even a carpenter or even your lowest level employee. You should never be embarrassed or ashamed to learn from them, because I have had situations where I've learned quite a lot from them. So that has helped me a lot, and that challenge is getting a lot better as time goes on.
I guess for me, initially it was people not really taking you very seriously, because I think in Sri Lanka the whole startup and entrepreneur economy is not really built in a very robust way. So there isn't much of a startup culture here. I mean, now it is getting better, but in terms of coming up with a business idea and then executing it, and how to start a business and run a business and all those areas, there's very little support. So it's things that you have to learn on your own and figure things out on your own, and it gets tough at times, and it is difficult to navigate through all those areas.
What is the long-term outlook for this kind of businesses in Sri Lanka comparing to the global market?
Well, I believe that the entire world is evolving, and this crisis actually brought something positive to the Sri Lankan community, where people started going more online and digitalizing, right? So people who didn't use online banking, people who didn't shop online, have started evolving and getting into that. I mean, there are people who didn't do any of their payments or not regular banking during the weekends because they didn't have online banking. So efficiency and convenience has gone up quite a bit in terms of them getting used to working online. So this is pretty much the way forward. If you look at how all the other companies in different countries, even when it comes to fresh produce, they operate. Now it's gradually moving online, because there is a stigma that people have where they want to go and touch and feel what they're buying before they buy it. That also has to do with a part of the experience and also trust. I believe that people don't really trust the person they're buying from to send them the produce that they see in their photographs when they're buying it online, especially when it's fresh produce. And that is one thing that we're trying really hard to address at Celeste, by making sure that people have no questions asked policy, where if they're not happy with their produce, we will send them a replacement or refund immediately. So that trust is something that we're trying to build by making sure that they have nothing to worry about when they shop online for these produce. So that is something that is important I think for us to progress, where we start encouraging people to work online and move forward.
I guess the functional beverage space, which Raw falls into, and the health and wellness industry is growing exponentially globally. And given the crisis that everyone's facing post-COVID, people are investing more in health and wellness. So it is definitely a growing area. But in Sri Lanka, this still remains quite a niche market, I would say. Globally, there is a lot more growth in this area, but I mean, I think with time that Sri Lanka will get there. So there is definitely a demand for it.
If you had one piece of advice to someone just starting out, what would it be?
Well, I'd say there's no such thing as a bad idea. Any idea that you have, if you are innovative and you come up with something that you think is good and you want to do it and you believe in it, just go for it and work hard until you can convince everyone around you that that idea is going to work out, and just put in a lot of hard work and it'll definitely succeed. Because I mean, there are so many things that you can come up with. Sri Lanka is a country full of innovative people. We have so much of youth who have so many good ideas, but they just need a little bit of support and encouragement, and I believe that we are starting to get that now. So I hope that if you have that, that idea is enough for you to just start moving forward and push it until you create something out of it. And don't stop until you've actually gone above and beyond to achieve that.
For me, I guess it is, if you start a business through a need in the community, a need in society, it will absolutely be a success. But you have to have that never give up spirit. So you just keep pushing, despite whatever adversity you may face, despite whatever difficulties you may face. Some days you might feel like, why am I even doing this? But keep focusing on what your vision was, what your mission was, and why you came to solve this problem. Not everyone is set out to be an entrepreneur. It is a tough road to take. If you are somebody that is made to be one, you have to have that never give up spirit and just keep going until you see the finish line.
What do you know of each other as entrepreneurs?
Well, what I know about Ronali is that she's a very hardworking entrepreneur. She's fully involved in her business, and I realized that even simple things that I've spoken to her and got tips about, she's done a lot of research, and she's always quite knowledgeable in whatever she gets into. So that's something that I really admire about her, and the fact that she's hands-on with her entire business. Whenever you watch anything that she does in terms of like a talk show online, or whether you follow her on Instagram, you always see her trying to educate people about her products and also like the healthy side of whatever that she does. So all that really shows that she's quite involved and she's hands-on. She's not trying to like get other people to run her business for her and take a step back. She's actually involved, and I feel like that makes a big difference for her, and she should continue that.
For me, Janik is a very hardworking person. He's an eternal optimist, and I think he's a great role model for a lot of young entrepreneurs. And he's the perfect example of turning adversity into opportunity, which is a very rare skill to have in today's day and age. And I think he also has a very rare quality that most entrepreneurs don't have, and he has very, very high moral standards, and he never compromises on them for anything.
What advice would you tell the other?
All I'd say is keep being you and work the way you've been working so far. Don't let anybody hold you back. I know how you feel very strongly about gender equality and all that. Don't let anybody ever make you feel little. You're doing a fantastic job with what you've done so far, and you can only keep growing if you just keep doing what you're doing right now. And you're going to end up doing something really big someday, and I have a lot of belief in you.
For me as well, it is don't give up. Keep going on this road that you have started, and nothing is impossible for you. You've proven that time and time again. No matter what happens around you, just stay true to who you are always.
What first impression did you have of each other?
That's a good one. Well, we knew each other socially initially, and at that time I didn't really picture Ronali as an entrepreneur or in a business aspect or anything at all. I just saw her as just another friend who was living her life. But it was quite a difference when I saw her as an individual who was an entrepreneur and getting into business, because she's completely different. She's extremely serious and hardworking. You see her any other time, she's just this fun-loving, chilled-out person. But then the moment she puts on her entrepreneur cap, there's no jokes. She's quite serious about what she's doing, and that's something that is admirable about the way she can have her work-life balance and also be able to know when to be serious in her work.
For me, first impression of Janik, probably I thought he was a very playful kind of person, not hardworking at all. And I was super happy to be wrong in my first impression of him. Once I got to know him, I realized that he is hardworking and he's very persevering, and he's actually quite serious, you know, which is a totally different impression you get when you first meet him. Of course, we met in a social setting, so it was very different. But yeah.
What do you think of each other's venture?
Well, so far I don't think there's not much that I have to say. Her brand has done quite well for itself. And a lot of people in Colombo have heard of Raw and what it is actually doing for people in terms of a healthy lifestyle and healthy living, right? So Ronali she believes in her brand, and she has been able to convince a lot of people about the fact that, you know, I learned from her when I needed to get some organic vegetable supplies for Celeste. I called her one day and I was like, Ronali, I really don't know how to identify organic. And then she took the time and she taught me, and she said one simple thing: the uglier it looks, the more organic it is, because they haven't used anything at all. So she believes in whatever she does, and she looks into every little detail. And I believe that this venture is going to do really well, and it's no longer just a venture. It's come up quite a bit from what it was when she started, and it's only going to go up places from where it is right now.
For me, Janik just blows my mind with how entrepreneurial he is. like from a hospitality management company, overnight, literally, he starts selling produce, and he starts making these healthy juices, like literally overnight. I was absolutely shocked and amazed how this guy turned a complete change in industry to fit the need of the community and of the people. And the work ethic he has is absolutely amazing, how he treats his staff. I absolutely love businesses that have a purpose behind it rather than just making money. And his business is a business with purpose. And that is quite evident with how he treats his staff and the respect he has for them and the importance he gives them. Truly, truly amazing.
Thanks.
What do you think about this program?
I think this program is pretty good because it gives the opportunity for entrepreneurs to come up, discuss and have a situation like this. I mean, like Ronali and I have known each other, but we have a lot of similar thinking where we want to try and share whenever possible with other younger entrepreneurs and show them that this is how we started and these are the things that we went through, and this is our belief, and try to get that message across so that others would move. There are so many of my friends that we know who are on the borderline of trying to figure out whether they should start something on their own or not, and I think these type of things give them that opportunity to take that little bit of a stepping stone and move forward. So this program is very important in that way, and I hope it can continue to bring in people who can give in this type of input as entrepreneurs, because I mean you just need to have some start, and once you start at that point you can keep working and moving forward.
Yeah, for me as well, I think it gives lots of young people encouragement, and I hope that our segment has helped somebody realize their passion and their dream and makes them want to really get out there and start their business. Also, it has actually, I've learned a lot about Janik that I didn't know before through this program. So I guess it gives you that opportunity because the questions were structured in such a way that I think he must have learned certain things about Raw that he didn't know as well. And even though we know each other on a personal capacity, we didn't know certain things about each other's businesses or how we run things. And that was only made possible because of a program like this. So thank you.